There are about top 10 topics for emotional distress. What causes us to feel? Oh. And the first one, frankly, is guilt. Guilt is that thing that follows us around. What if I had, what if I hadn't, I woulda, shoulda, coulda. The one thing I'm going to tell you for sure about guilt, it doesn't serve you well. The idea that you should feel guilty for making mistakes, we got to work hard on letting it go. Yeah, you'll revisit it, but if it's in front of you all the time, you're not actually seeing the person and the situation as it is. You're focused on the past. You got to let go of the past so you can actively cope with what's ahead and what's happening right now. Second emotional status problem. I'm overwhelmed. This is a lot. This is a lot more than I ever thought it would be. And it's getting to be more and more. And I don't know how much more. Yeah, I don't blame you. This is more than anybody ever anticipates happening. And just when you think you've reached your limit, but yeah, maybe I'm starting to handle it, something else happens. The thing about dementia is it's an ever-changing disability. And the thing about the journey of dementia is there's surprises every which way you turn. And it's not the only thing that's going on. So being overwhelmed, yeah. When you're feeling overwhelmed, it's vital to go, whoa, I need a pause. Because if you can't call the pause for yourself, I hope you have someone near you you'll listen to. Because when you are overwhelmed, your brain can't function. And your brain not working is not helping someone who has a brain that's not working. Both of you need a break. So call one. It makes a difference. Third emotional trauma situation is when the person you're trying to support you are working so hard rejects you. I don't want you. They want nothing to do with you. They think you're the problem. It's like, I'm the one putting in all the effort. I'm the one helping. I'm the only. Ooh. Yeah. It's not okay when someone you're giving your all to is rejecting your all. But in that moment, the rejection is not you. It's actually rejection of the entire life of living with dementia. See the bigger picture. It's hard. You may need time to do that, but realize rejection of what you're offering could be because how you're offering it, where you're offering it, when, or it could be overall, I don't like this life and I don't want it. Be thoughtful and careful that you're not taking on something that doesn't just belong to you. Rejection means there is something here that's not working. I agree. And there's more than one thing here that's not working. So pause and let's figure out how to re-enter or how to get a substitution if absolutely needed for this moment. It may mean you need respite, or maybe they do. So our fourth emotion is one of feeling conflicted. I mean, sometimes I feel like, yeah, I'm actually, this is going so well. And then at the same time, this is going like crap. I mean, and so I don't even know what to wish for. Should I hope that it gets done early? Should I hope that it's just through? Should I hope that it's over? Should I hope that she stays here or he stays here? Should I? In other words, your brain is totally confused about what it likes, wants, or needs right now. Usually that's happening because you are feeling conflicting emotions. And that's real. You're trying to figure out how to live life you never planned to live with a person who also never planned this life. And now you're finding, wow, some rocky road, but some nice vistas. How do I balance all that out? What I would say in this moment, you need more support than you have. Believe it or not, the reason you're feeling all this conflict is that there's a lot happening. Taking the pause to sort it out is going to make all the difference because, yeah, whatever you're feeling, that's okay to feel. But if it's feeling uncomfortable, Well, that's important to address before it gets painful. Oh, and our fifth emotion, I am angry. I'm furious. This isn't fair. This isn't what's supposed to be happening for us, for me. This is not okay. I hate this. Well, I don't blame you. I wish it weren't happening. It isn't fair. No one should be going through this. But you are. So the question is, how do we get from that place of anger? Because when you're angry, it's hard to be anything else. And when you feel those spurts of anger, unfortunately, anger is all kinds of emotion directed outward, usually without a lot of control. If you're irritated, be thoughtful, because angry comes next. The thing we absolutely want to avoid, I'm enraged. And I was getting pretty close. So what does that mean? It means I don't have a place to put these emotions. It's building up. The pressure is building up. I can't find anything that gives me a sense of satisfaction, of joy. I need help. I need a lot of help. I need a place to take this emotion that I'm feeling and get rid of it. I may need a break, but what I can tell you is I don't need to keep on keeping on with where I'm at right now, because a boiling pot doesn't stop boiling just because you don't want it to. You have to take it off the burner. You have to turn the heat down. So let's figure out, what is it you need so that your emotions can come back in alignment. Letting it go in a safe space can make all the difference. The sixth emotional trauma situation is dealing with the loss of intimacy. And if it's a spouse relationship, wow, I mean, you're losing a lot. You're losing a partner of life, you're losing a housemate, you're losing a friend, you're losing a big relationship. If it's a child-parent relationship, you're often losing the role relationship you've had. If it's a friend that you've been, I'm losing my friend. Whatever the case, there's a loss of the ability to maintain intimacy at the level we've been able to maintain it. Emotional intimacy, social intimacy, secrets may be coming out, or perhaps secrets are being kept and I don't know what to do. I'm feeling that loss of relationship. It's important that I find a place in a space where I can have relationships. And they probably will not start off as intimate relationships. Those actually take time. But I may actually need to build new friendships, new family relationships, and they might not be the family I thought they were going to be. And I may, in fact, need intimate talking relationships, social relationships, because I don't have dementia. I'm living with it. And I'm feeling some things are missing for me. And when I'm at a loss, I have less to offer my partner, my friend, my person. And we have to keep in mind, they may be feeling some of this as well, because I can't deliver what they're seeking. It's a complicated thing, intimacy. Keep in mind, everybody has their own preferences and layering. Get your needs met. That's what I'd say. Otherwise, you'll continue to have the emotional sense that you don't. The seventh emotional trauma is when I'm feeling really lonely. I'm feeling isolated, even though the person living with dementia is still present. I mean, they may be present in a facility, they may be present in my home, they're present in my life. And yet when I visit, I don't feel the same as I did. It's really lonely. And when I don't visit, I'm lonely. And when they're present, I'm lonely. When they're absent, I'm lonely. I just want this to be done. I'm feeling so alone. I would like not to be alone. Well, if you don't want to be alone, you got to figure out, what do you want? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be with? And if you're needing help, Start with something simple, like maybe a support group or a counseling relationship. Start to think and talk and be present with another human being who has the capacity to offer back that which you may be missing. It is lonely. Don't let anybody tell you it isn't. Because when you really care about a human being that's present and yet has changed so much that it feels like they're not, you are missing something. But you want to be present enough in that moment to realize, well, they're still here, but it's entirely different than it used to be. What can I enjoy about being with the person that's here while I acknowledge I have some work to do elsewhere? The eighth emotional trauma has to do with grieving losses, grieving the many losses you'll experience through this journey. As a care partner, as a friend, as a human being, there's a lot of things that you're losing. You're losing the life you had before. You're losing the presence of the person. You're losing time. You can get into the loss game. And what happens is, as you're doing this, you start to anticipate the next loss. You start to worry about what else. None of those things are particularly helpful. Yeah, you want to explore them, but then learning the art of letting them go. Yeah, they're gone. What do you have instead? What do you have left? What still remains? What can you build? What can you do with what's there? Lacking something means subtraction. I'm asking you to think, what could you substitute? Maybe it doesn't taste as good. Maybe it doesn't feel as good. Maybe it is not as good. Is it good enough for right now to get you going, to keep you going, to move you forward? Can you take one baby step out of it so that you're there? And when you're there, you see some light, you see some hope, you see some chance. Because if all you're feeling is loss, I would suggest you might actually have another problem, and it's called depression or apathy. And that should be supported in the right way. So you may need some actual supportive help for that emotional trauma of loss. Number 9, preparing for life when the person is no longer present. When they've died, they're gone. They are. Their life has ended. How do you prepare? Well, there's going to be anticipatory grief, but really, truly, at this moment, I'm asking, how are you going to keep going? How are you going to come back into life? How are you going to bridge the gap between what has been to what will be? How are you going to move past this point? And what I'm going to say is, you may need a long pause. You may grieve this final loss for a while. But the tricky part is, try not to do it alone. Try to share the moments that you made a difference. When you were overwhelmed and you decided, you know what? Yeah, I was, but now I figured it out. Share the moment when you no longer feel the guilt, because yeah, I figured that out too. Maybe the moment when you conquered loneliness with friendship. Perhaps the loss of intimacy by creating some new opportunities to be intimate in a different way with someone. Perhaps you let go of the anger to realize it is what it is, and is what I'm going to choose to do with it that matters. But as I anticipate this last and final chapter of letting go of someone, there may be an active pause where I think, wow, what is possible out there? And the more you've laid down a track for yourself to explore, the easier it might be to, after the pause, take a baby step forward. The 10th emotional trauma is if you've been a member of a faith community or you've been incredibly spiritual in your life, and in this place called dementia care, you're having a hard time finding that spiritual support you always have counted on. Maybe you're struggling with it. Well, I don't blame you. In many ways, it feels like you've been offered the beggar's plate, the thing that you never want. Why am I getting this? This isn't okay. And you may have to pause and realize, wow, yeah, this feels like a real empty space, until you do discover the spiritual journey that you're on maybe a different one than you anticipated. Maybe the community you thought that was going to be the faith community that would offer you support, maybe there's a different one. Maybe there's another way of going about this. Or maybe your faith is so solid, so set, that it's the guiding light for you. But maybe it isn't for someone else. Keep in mind that your spiritual journey is not going to be like anyone else's. And yet, there's so much we have in common as human beings. How are we going to do this? It's bigger than ourselves, for sure. So determining how you will use spiritual support for yourself and for the people you care for, yeah, it's a tough one, but vital to give yourself a chance to consider. How will I come through this? How will this be for me? And how will I find the other side?